Hi, guys. So we are just about ready to begin. It is just 8 o'clock now. So hopefully I will see you guys in a moment logging in and joining the group. Let's get here to YouTube. Okay, I'm not sure if that's me or Mr. Drew. I'm guessing it's Mr. Drew. Excellent. We'll just give a couple minutes for people to join us. Good evening. I assume this is you, Mr. Drew, joining us now first. I could be wrong. Whoever it is who's joined us, please come in and say hi. And I'm just going to give it a couple minutes for everybody to get here. New phone, and it's still making noise, even though it's not supposed to, which is kind of annoying, actually. Thank you, Drew. And you were worried about me saying things that are slightly inappropriate. All right, so yeah, I don't know why it does that sometimes, the live versus not showing up. It's also delayed showing up here versus on my phone, so it is what it is. So I hope everyone is having a good Sunday night. I'm going to give it just another minute or two more for people to join in, because this was very last minute, putting this whole thing together. But we will be chatting about the importance of flexibility, why you need to change plans, how this may come up, things you can do about it. Also, again, if you have any questions, please feel free to throw them on in here. I am happy to answer them. I don't know if you're there or not there. I keep getting these things that say you're gone and then you're here. I have no idea what's going on. Bangs. So we'll just give it another minute or two and then we'll start chatting. I'm thinking this is if this is 8 o'clock at night. That's part of a list, Drew. You're jumping the gun. So yeah, so that is kind of the stuff we're talking about, is what happens that makes you need to change your plans, external sources as well as internal sources, which makes me want to take another note. Okay. Yeah, keep saying you're here and you're not here. I have no idea if that's me or you, but all right. So let's start, just to kind of get the ball rolling, and hopefully people will join in and we'll see how it goes from there. So we are today going to talk about the importance of last minute changes, the importance of what happens that is going to make you adjust your plans. Because as you know, I make that Oh Dear God spreadsheet, and it's incredibly detailed. And hello, who's ever's joined us. Welcome. Come in and say hi. The water's warm. Well, that's if you've been boiling it, but okay. Anyway, so we're talking about kind of the importance of flexibility when things go awry or when stuff changes. Like I said, I make that set schedule and it's incredibly detailed, but I have learned over time that I will make the original schedule almost a year out. This is what I think I'm going to do. And then I get to my dining reservation time, and then it morphs the schedule. And then I get to fast pass time, and it morphs the schedule. And then you start following the news, and it morphs the schedule again. She's joking. It's February. Yeah, the water is kind of chilly here. Now in Florida, it might not be too bad, but then there's going to be alligators in it, and you still don't want to jump in there. So things that can change your schedule. I'm going to kind of apply a lot of this to the trip that Drew and I are planning in about 3 weeks. to give you an idea of the a number of adjustments and machinations and changes that have already happened. And hello, whoever has joined us, please feel free to stay and make a comment, and let's see what we can talk about in terms of this. Now, this particular trip, while I do still have annual passes for both Disney and Universal, this one's going to be just Disney because we're only going for 2 days. We are flying in late Friday night. We are going to be in the parks all day Saturday and Sunday till about 8 p.m. And then we're jumping on back to the Tragical Express, actually till about 7 p.m. No, 7, 8 p.m. We're going to jump on the Tragical Express and head back to the airport and fly home that night and get home around 12:30 in the morning. So it is a whirlwind trip. It is a busy, busy trip. It also is going to have not the best amount of sleep, unfortunately, which we'll start talking about. So first thing that can change your schedule. Disney is notorious for not announcing that something's going to happen until right before it happens. Universal is generally like that as well. They will wait and wait and wait, and then go, oh, by the way, this new thing is opening, ta-da! And you only find out maybe 2 months in advance or something like that. Whereas Disney will go, hey, 3 years from now, we're going to open this. Oh, and look at the construction. Oh, and look at this. Oh, and here. Which they still don't tell you where things are going to happen or things get delayed. For example, I was hoping that this trip we'd be able to do Space 220, which is a restaurant that's going to be opening. Stuff happened. Life happened. It was originally going to open in December. Then it got pushed back to opening in February. And now I think they've got a pretty set opening date in April because they have a new chef and things have changed. So it's challenging sometimes to put all your hopes on one thing. And you really can't put all your hopes on one thing unless it's already open. And then even then, we'll get to that subject in a minute. So new rides and closings of rides, which is pretty much what I was talking about. So for our trip, Rise of the Resistance has been opened, and I knew that was a must-do. And Smuggler's Run, I knew was going to be a must-do, because these are things that Drew hasn't seen, and they are Star Wars-based, and they are kind of amazing experiences. So then I got a notification that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is going to be opening on the 4th of March, which is 10 days before we get there. Well, it's the newest ride, which means it's also going to have a line because it's new, which means the locals are trying to come see it as well because we're not in the height of the season. So anyone can probably come into the park at this point. So the question was whether or not we were going to shift things around. And this also ties into the next item, but we'll get to that in a minute. But so that was something that we went, okay, do we need to change our plans for this? And each time one of these new pieces of information comes up, you need to look at it and go, what's the priority? And set those priorities for yourself and set them in advance. You know, these are the must-dos. These are I'd like to do's. These are would be nice or no way in hells. So the other thing that happened, which is part of this, which ties into changing of schedules, was the change of the Fast Pass layouts. Each park has different setups for Fast Passes. Magic Kingdom, 3 Fast Passes on any ride. Epcot, 1 top tier Fast Pass and 2 second tier Fast Passes. And your top tiers are Soarin', Test Track, and Frozen. My guess is when it opens, Ratatouille's Adventure is going to be top tier because it'll be the newest. Mission Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind will be the top of the list. But that means some of those higher ranked rides like Test Track may drop down to the regular Fast Passes. Same with Soarin', might drop down. So no way to quite figure. Yes, Star Wars, Drew. Lots of Star Wars. But so there's no way to know. So I may say right now that I'm planning, say Guardians of the Galaxy was supposed to open at the end of this year, which it's not. It's supposed to be next year. But if it was opening at the end of this year and I'm plotting and planning, then I would say, okay, I want to make Test Track my top Fast Pass and Turtle Talk and Spaceship Earth for the other one. Well, Spaceship Earth now I find out is closing. Won't be open when I want to go. So then I've got to shift what that's going to be because they are closing Spaceship Earth for 2 years to do a massive redesign. So Epcot is going to become like a half-a-day park, except for the food and drinking in the back. It's really getting limited there. Drew, you will see this when you get there. It's just they've decimated. You cannot walk through the center of it. You know, you can go up to Spaceship Earth, and then you have to go out and around the edges. It's kind of scary. It's kind of intense. but you always have to be ready to shuffle and to adjust with those things. The big thing that happened with Hollywood Studios, again, back to this trip, is that Mickey's Minnie's Runaway Railway is going to open March 4th. It's going immediately into Fast Passes, where Rise of the Rebellion, still Rise of the Resistance, is still not in the Fast Passes. You have to do the virtual boarding group. It's the only way to ride it. And Smuggler's Run, which wasn't a Fast Pass item, now is. So Smuggler's Run got released as a Fast Pass. Those all disappeared. And then they opened Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway and said, oh, by the way, this is also a top tier 1 Fast Pass. So if I had kids with me, I'd suddenly have to go, oh, well, is my biggest priority Smuggler's Run, or is it Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway? And you have to keep shuffling. You have to keep shuffling. The problem is that unless you keep aware of these notifications, you're not going to know. For example, I got Smuggler's Run the day it came out, before people were officially telling me. I had sources and friends who were going, by the way, take a look. The problem is that sometimes they fail you. For example, the Runaway Railway, I didn't get till much later. Now, for this particular example, and at this point, I didn't realize that it was a tier, an additional tier version, where it was on the top tier. So I was trying to get a Fast Pass for it, and they're saying they're all out. Well, it turns out they might not have been all out. I think they are now, but they might not have been initially, because I had a Smuggler's Run Fast Pass, and I would have had to have gotten rid of it to pick up Mickey and Minnie. Priorities. So you have to really know what your true priorities are. So because of that, what our game plan is going to be now, and here, Drew, you get to learn what it is the park open. It was supposed to open. We'll get back to this. The next thing that changes is changes in hours, which is where this is headed. Disney is notorious. Now, Universal, they will set hours. They set hours months in advance. The week of the event, hours don't change. The month up, hours don't change. 6 months out, hours don't change. Once they set those hours, that's it. They have set their park, and it's going to be set. Disney starts to look at what the activity is and then adjusts them. They can adjust them. They started looking at adjusting them about a month out, and sometimes even less than that. I've seen them change the hours a week out. So you're going, oh, okay, I'm going to get there at rope drop at 8 o'clock. And then it's 6 o'clock for rope drop. It's happened. Usually they give you at least a week's notice. But, oh my goodness. Hello, Patrick. Welcome back. Nice to see you. All right, wait, what? Yeah, get back to it. I'll get back to it. Okay, so that being said, for Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Resistance, etc. Now, for those of you who haven't followed Rise of the Resistance, to be able to go on that experience, you have to be there at rope drop. And rope drop means be in the park, scanned in. They start letting people in a half an hour beforehand, so that at that moment, you are able to open your boarding, open your Disney app, open the boarding groups, add your people, and then get a boarding group. And the longer it takes to do that, the harder it is to get the ride, to get into a decent numbered boarding group. But it is up in the air, and that's just the nature of the game. The problem is, originally in March, they were expecting to open the park at 9. Last week, I went and looked back because they were starting to push the February hours earlier. I went, oh God. So I looked again, and the park is now opening at 8, which means we have to be there by 7:30. We need to be walking out of the Caribbean Beach Resort over to the Skyliner, and I'm hoping it runs this early, and getting on, because luckily we only have to go from the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. It's a simple trip, and as long as it's running, we're good. But we have to get on the Skyliner or a bus so that we are in the park by 7, which means we really want to be there by no later than 7:30, because they start letting people in at 7:40. That way we can get tagged in and into the space when it opens. What fun. So yeah. And we're probably not getting to our room till 1 o'clock-ish, so we're not going to have a whole lot of sleep. It is possible to do a minivan if they're not, and I might splurge on that, to be completely frank, to make sure that we go there. But again, while an Uber might be $8, a minivan is going to be 30. It's just the nature of the beast. But you get guaranteed, and you can pre-book the minivans. You can say you want them at this time. The other good thing about the minivan is that they can actually go to your building. So we don't have to go all the way to the front of the Caribbean Beach Resort to pick up an Uber or something. We can get it right at the room. And yes, it is a splurge, and depending on costs, etc., we may go that route. But so yeah, so it's going to be extremely limited sleep that first night, and then we're gonna just play it by ear. We've got a whole bunch of fun stuff packed in the morning. We've got Ogas, we've got Fast Pass for Smuggler's Run, we've got and then we had 2 secondary level Fast Passes, which, let me see what we got, because I don't remember off the top of my head. One of them, I believe, was Toy Story Midway Mania, which had been a top tier, but is now, oh, come on, gang. Thank you. But is now a secondary tier. And plans. Where's my plans? There we go. I believe Star Tours is the other one we booked, because I'm making it a whole kind of Star Wars experience. And Star Tours was currently showing the new movie scenes. So they have 3 different scenes based on the most recent movie, and there's some nice stuff there. Give me a sec, because I just closed this screen where I can read it a little better. Good luck on that with Kylo. He'll be walking around in the streets, so he will be chatting with people, as with the stormtroopers. And hopefully we'll get that opportunity. You'll also get to have your blue milk and your green milk, with or without booze. I'll be honest, I liked it without the booze more. I remember when I was describing it before that I said it tasted viscous. And that was because when you put this frozen slushy, a non-dairy slushy, and you add alcohol, it thins it out. But because coconut milk and rice milk still have that thickness to it, like a milk would, and then you add the thinner, they didn't blend quite as well. It's like a floater that you mix in or sits at the bottom. So it got this kind of almost felt mucusy. I mean, the flavor was good. I think between the two, I didn't have enough of the blue with the rum. I had the green with the tequila mostly. And that was actually kind of a nice citrusy, tasty thing. But it took a while, and I waited for it to totally melt, because when it was not melted, it was odd. Whereas straight blue milk or green milk is incredibly tasty. And both of them I've liked. I know a lot of people are big on one or the other. Tiers. Okay, so I was explaining this before you got here, but I will re-explain it, Patrick, so that it makes sense. So different parks have what they call a tier structure for your fast passes. Magic Kingdom, everything's on the same level. You just get 3 rides, whatever 3 you want. When you go to Hollywood Studios, Epcot, or Animal Kingdom, all of them have this, where the biggest, latest, greatest rides are tier 1. And you can only get one of those as a fast pass, and then multiple other rides. For example, right now, Hollywood Studios, by the time we go, will have Smuggler's Run, which is the Millennium Falcon ride, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and Slinky Dog Dash, which is the Toy Story roller coaster. All the 3 new rides will be tier 1. You can get one of those as a fast pass, and then pick 2 of any other rides. So that's Tower of Terror Rock and Roller Coaster, Toy Story Midway Mania, Alien Swirling Saucers, the Indiana Jones show, the Little Mermaid show. I mean, anything else you want to do, you get 2 of those. Now, you have to use up, and here's another thing I know a lot of people don't quite understand. A lot of people go, oh, well, I only get 3 fast passes, and then I'm done. No. You get to start with 3 fast passes that you get to pick in advance, which is why a lot of people were like, oh, I'm not going to pick my fast passes till afternoon. No. Don't book fast passes in the first hour, but after that first hour passes, because that first hour you can usually walk onto something. The lines haven't quite gotten nutsy cuckoo yet. So go ahead and plan to walk on something, which true, that's when we're going to try Runaway Railway. We're going to try to do it at rope drop, get our boarding group, and then stand in line. But once you do that, you tag in for your first fast pass. Once you have tagged in for your first fast pass, so say we're the day we do Hollywood Studios, our first fast pass is going to be Star Tours, which is at 9 o'clock. The park opens at 8. So if we go in at 9 o'clock, once I've hit my band and tagged into the ride, I can then go start to modify the fast passes we have. I can go, oh, well, this one wasn't supposed to start till 10, but now that we've tagged in, let's see if I can move it earlier. So you just kind of shift things a little forward just to get them done faster. It takes a little finagling. It's easier with one person than with more, but it's possible. Once you get through your 3 official fast passes, and like I said, you can keep modifying them and move them earlier if you manage to get through everything quickly. You don't have to. You can squeeze other things in amongst it. Like we're going to do Star Tours, then we have an Oga's Cantina reservation. Then we're going to go do Smuggler's Run, and then we've got a little bit of a break before Toy Story Midway Mania, but that means we could end up with Rise of the Resistance. We could go see something else, do a meet and greet. It's all up to us. Stop for a breakfast, whatever we feel like doing. Drew says, no, you can, yeah, exactly. You can't hug all of the top rides at once. Works by me. Minnie Mickey have been there for a while now. It's thinking you right. Yeah, it's actually the very first time that Mickey and Minnie have had their own ride. Isn't that amazing? After all this time, first time. People Mover is not that day. That's a different day. And People Mover's been getting a line lately. What the hell? Anyway, so that being said, so you get your 1 and you get your 3. Once you finish using up those 3, so we're going to go on a Smuggler's Run, Star Tours, and Toy Story Midway Mania. And once we're done those, we can then choose, go open the app, and we could say, well, we want to stay in Hollywood Studios. Go to Hollywood Studios and pick one more Fast Pass. And then pick one more Fast Pass. So again, that's why you want to kind of do those earlier ones, not the first hour, but those next few hours, because then you can start picking up new ones and new ones and new ones. And if you say like, oh, I really wanted the Frozen, well, and that's the other thing. After you finish your first 3 in one park, if you go to another park, you can start picking one at a time in that park. So say we finish it and we've seen everything we want to do at Hollywood Studios by the time our last Fast Pass is done. And then we want to head over to Epcot. Well, once I've tagged in on my ride in Hollywood Studios, I can open the app and go, well, in 2 hours in Epcot, we can get this ride. You can only get one at a time. Okay. It's not like Disneyland where you can get one and 2 hours later, get another, and 2 hours later, get another. Doesn't work that way. So if you get one, don't try to pick something that's like the fireworks viewing at 9 o'clock at night, because then you get no more Fast Passes. You're done. Unless all you want to do is eat and drink around the world at Epcot, don't see any rides, don't go on any of that, then sure, fine. But to be completely frank, we're going to try to get on Spaceship Earth because it's going away. And Drew has not been there in a little bit, so we want to say goodbye to Dayton Judi Dench because I really like that. But they're totally changing the inside. It's going to be the history of storytelling versus history. So it's a whole different ball of wax that's going to be taking over. And that's why it's 2 years from now, or going to be a 2-year closing, which depresses the hell out of me. But so that being said, I don't know if they're waiting to close Spaceship Earth until some of these other new rides are open, because like I said, it's a little scary in the center, or if they just want to totally block off that center and you just have to split and go around the outer edges. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see, because from what I can tell, even more and more and more are going away in that center area. And I understand they want to do it as quickly as possible, but it's pretty intense. Yeah, and they're all wonderful. I love the People Mover. I like the People Mover a lot. But yeah, well, remember, People Mover, the line moves pretty quickly. It is a great place to sit down. It gives you a complete overview of Tomorrowland. And more importantly, right now, you get a really good view of what's happening with the Tron roller coaster build. So like all the vloggers do it all the time, and all of like the diehard Disney fans, that's, the thing, because the People Mover doesn't exist in Disneyland anymore. It died many years ago and the structure was not safe. So we are the only ones with one. So it's a deal. Okay. Judy is amazing and all, but other opportunities are worth considering as well. Yeah. So, we'll see what's going to happen with that ride. I don't know who the new voice is going to be. I don't know all the details are, but we do know it's going to be about storytelling, the history of storytelling. So there's going to be some fun. Yeah. No Disneyland People Mover. There are a whole bunch of vloggers that do the Disneyland thing, and they like show, there's where it is. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked in like 15, 20 years, something like that. It was totally shut down, I think in the 80s. Okay, so other things that change plans. So we talked about the changes to the Fast Pass levels. For example, like Smuggler's Run wasn't a Fast Pass, and now it is. Toy Story Midway Mania was the top level Fast Pass, and now it's in the regular level Fast Pass. So it's a lot of playing and sussing around. I will highly recommend allears.net, following the ones that Molly does. She'll show you how many Fast Passes you can get in a day. I think she got 25 or 27 at Magic Kingdom, 17 at Epcot. And she only wrote things with fast passes, and she was showing you how many you could do just by jumping around with stuff. It was pretty terrific. I think it might have been. I think you're correct, Patrick. I think there was like damage to the base structure because of an earthquake, and it was no longer sound. It was like it couldn't get fixed. It couldn't be fixed. It was kind of sad. Okay. So other things that change. We talked about hour changes. We talked about fast pass levels. We talked about the new rides. Oh, ride closings. I'm all excited. This happened to a friend of mine. I'm all excited. I'm going to Disneyland. Haunted Mansion is my favorite ride. We're going in February. It's closed for 3 months. Yeah. So thank you for the like, whoever did that. And yes, please like, comment, and subscribing. Always, always good. But a little bit of heartbreak for him that he had gotten all of his hopes set up about seeing the Hatbox Ghost and seeing Disneyland, and they closed Haunted Mansion for 3 months. Partially to take out the overlay for Christmas, and partially to do some refurb work on it while they were at it. So, yeah. So be really, really aware. There are a number of really good sites that can give you information. The Diz Unplugged, WDW Magic does it on Facebook. They also have their own site, allears.net. All of these sites, DFB, Disney Food Blog, they're all incredibly good. Thank you for the second like. They're incredibly good about making sure that you are, that they let you know about things as soon as they find out about them. Disney also has their own blog, which is where you find out about some of the tickets, like the fast pass levels and things, but it's limited. Okay, so other things that can change your schedules and that you have to be flexible with. Hold on. Oh, that was that then. Special events, surprises. This week I had, and this is one, I think one of the best things is when people start to know that you're really interested in Disney, they randomly start sending you stuff. Or you can go to places on Facebook. There's an adults only, if you're not traveling with kids, if you're just traveling with adults, there's an adults only Facebook page that if you need to know, I can message you or tell you, because I think the people watching right now know me through Facebook. So I can send you that. And it's great to ask questions or to see things that are kind of more adults only. So for example, I got a message from one of my friends who knows I love Disney and knows I do this all the time and knew I was going, and said, hey, here, this is a link about something wonderful for sangria tasting at Three Bridges over at Coronado Springs, and it's a class. And I went, okay. What is this? Which Patrick, Cali or Gatorville? Oh, good. You are okay. Good. So yeah. So if you need to talk planning and thoughts and stuff, I know we started talking, Patrick, but we can absolutely talk more about that. Yeah, and I may do a quick weekend whirlwind at that point in time again, just because the festival's over. So I've got that time. I think festival runs later this year, so I may end up actually doing it a weekend in November, but it's going to be an in-out weekend again. Yeah, absolutely. Now remember, 6 months out, you're doing your food. You're doing your food ADRs, they call them. ADRs is advanced dining reservations. Disney fanatics are very big on their abbreviations. HS for Hollywood Studios, AK for Animal Kingdom, MK for Magic Kingdom. Epcot never gets abbreviated because it's Epcot. It's so short. Actually, it is an abbreviation: Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. But so yeah. So remember, 180 days out, and depending on the restaurants you want to do, you need to book them at that time. You can always rearrange and adjust stuff, but you need to grab them. If you want to eat at Cinderella's Royal Table in the castle, you need to grab it. If you want to eat at Chef Mickey's, if you want to eat at Crystal Palace, these places, especially with the character meet and greets, you need to book those. There are ones that just fill. The tea at Grand Floridian tends to fill very quickly too. So California Grill up at night, so you can get the fireworks. That's another one that fills pretty quickly. So yeah, you want to be aware of that. One day I will go and do, if I'm there for more than a day and not just leaving on Sunday, I really want to do that California Grill brunch, because it's like sushi at brunch, and you pay more, but then you can get bottomless mimosas, and you can get bottomless Bloody Marys. And you can get a lot of, I've seen the food spread from that thing, and it's like high end, oh my God, food. So it'd be thoroughly worth it. Cinderella's Royal Table is not particularly good food. It is seeing the princesses and physically walking into the castle to have your meal. That's the big thing about it. But it's okay food. Judy and Keith have eaten there, and they liked it. I would love to go in. Now, here's the other thing. If you go in the evening, once the fireworks get ready, like I think about a half an hour before the fireworks end, through the fireworks, you're not allowed to leave the castle because it ain't safe. So you get in there and you're there. You can ask for a fireworks kind of view, and you'll see the back fireworks from behind the castle, but you're not going to see everything. You're not going to see a whole lot of stuff. Oh, Disneyland Paris. I have some of the vloggers I follow are there right now. Actually, they just live streamed today. It is similar to Disney World, but a different aesthetic. I mean, and again, it's only 2 parks versus the 4 you're going to have here, plus the 2 water parks, plus all the other experiences around. So it is a much more intensive thing. I would love to go one day. I'm not dying to go, other than to see the dragon inside the castle. I'm not dying to go there. And I do want to see what they did to their Phantom Manor, which is their haunted mansion is built into Frontierland with a Frontierland story, and the bride being part of the town of Frontier. It's a very interesting. I mean, Offhand Disney does some great videos about the history of Haunted Mansion and all of the haunted mansions and how they all tie together, and the club of the Adventurers Club, and how that all stuff goes around. It's pretty fabulous. Patrick, no, not Patrick, Drew. Thank you. Francis getting the Frozen New World. Do you want to build a snowman? Yes, Francis getting the whole Frozen World. They're getting a whole bunch of really cool, new, exciting things. I think you'll enjoy. Do be aware that was a timeout, not a removal. Just so you know, Mr. Drew. And if you need me to do that, let me know. All right. So other things that will change your schedules. So we talked about, surprise fast passes, etc. But that's a day of. Let me do one more. Let me do a little more on the planning. So special events is what we were talking about. And things like the Sangria event. Hello, whoever joined. I don't know if that was the person from before or something different. So the Sangria event, someone sent me and said, hey, this might be up your alley. And it is a class. I think it's like an hour or 2 hours class where you get to try all 4 of the sangrias they have on their menu. There's a sparkling, a white, a rosé, and a red. They teach you how they make the sangrias, what the balance is, how they make them, why they make them, and then you get to create your own. And it includes nibbles, and it's $45 for the class. Well, I looked at the tasting menu for the sangrias, and the tastings for the sangrias is $21. So for the tastings, you would have paid $21 for anyway. That means that $24 is the class, making your own, and having that, which means another sangria. Maybe it's another $14 off, so you're paying $10 for the class. It's absolutely worth it. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Disney Bartending 101. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. It's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm pretty thrilled about it. So, but I posted that and went, hey, are you interested? And all the parties involved went, yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested. Hey, my mom was going to be there too. So now we've got 4 of us. Now the sangria tasting, I found out, I'm about to sneeze, excuse me, only seats 14 people. So we got 4 of the 14 slots for that day. No, and they may not all get filled, or they may all get filled. Who knows? We could have a class of just us. Or we could have 10 of our new friends, because we'll be drinking. So why not? But so it's all going to be, it's kind of a neat experience. It's always a challenge, kind of to learn. But that meant that the schedule we had, we switched, we adjusted it. So that frightening little chart I made has to constantly keep changing. It's a living document. It changes, I have a little bit of time. Now, there are no special after evening events on the weekend, but if I was there during a week, the after hours, yeah, exactly, flexibility. And that's what this whole thing is about. They do after hours parties, and it would cost more, but like say the Villains after hours party is $145. But from you get 3 hours in the park, but you can come in, I think, 3 hours before. So it's like from 7 o'clock till midnight, or from 7 o'clock till 1 a.m. And you can Okay. I don't know that one, Patrick, but that's okay. But from 7 o'clock till you suddenly get 6 or 7 hours when there are far less people in the park. Now you could use that time to watch their stage show, which is okay, or watch the parade, or go on the specialty rides because they do have a few specialty changes, or get the free ice cream and popcorn and sodas, or get the specialty. Oh, gotcha, Sam. Gumby? How is Gumby? Oh, gotcha. Never mind. Okay. Okay. Um, so so you may say, well, I only have a little bit of time, but I do have till midnight and they've got this specialty event. Well, let's do the regular stuff during the day and do the specialty event at night. So again, flexibility. Be willing to say, well, here's a new opportunity that can suss and adjust it and make it even better for us, and look at those opportunities. So that's the idea with special events. Menu changes. So right now we're planning to do the flower and garden show for pretty much the entire. We're going to have breakfast at Oga's Cantina, which is basically booze. There's really no food there. We'll go to Ronto Wraps, I promise, because I love that Ronto wrap. And you can get one that has no carbs. If you get the gluten-free version, it's like an egg wrap with a sausage and cheese and green peppercorn sauce that is fabulous. And there's your breakfast, and it's healthy and yummy, and there you go. But that being said, so flower and garden, the menus aren't even out yet. So I've been looking online to see what the menus are this year, or were last year, to get an idea of what might show up, because they will always add new things and they will always remove things. And the concern is, of course, I'm gluten-free, which I discovered the hard way can become a difficulty when you are at the food festivals. It was highly disappointing at Food and Wine, and for a very numbered of reasons. It was just sad. It was just not fun. So instead, so I've got to keep my eye out for those menus. So that I may say, well, we're going to do the snacking there, but do we need to plan a sit down? And hey, Drew, do we need to plan a sit down? Because my Tables in Wonderland discount does not work on the kiosks, but will work on a sit-down meal. And we can suss out with our other cohort as to if there is a place we want to grab a sit-down meal. Because there's so many wonderful food places there in the countries. And it might be we do, tapas type things at Spice Road Table, or we do the sit-down Tokyo dining and get sushi or whatever. So we may want to talk about that and then see what's even available if we want to go that route. Sometimes, if you want to guarantee a seat at a show, you may get a dining thing where you get dinner at a place and then the seat to the show. Simple Plan is playing the weekend we are there at the Eat to the Beat or Flower Rocks or whatever. There's rock concerts by the group Simple Plan. There are 3 shows a night, just so you know. Do I want to build a sit down? Maybe. I already spoke to, thank you for the question about gluten-free. I already spoke to the venue, and while they normally do hummus and pita, there's my little plate of death. For the tastings, I said, I've got allergies. Do you have gluten-free options? And they went, yes, we can absolutely do that. They will accommodate. So my allergens have all been given. The mom made the reservation, and all of the allergens have been given to them, and we pay when we get there. So there's no worry about paying people back. We can pay whatever way we want. We could pay to our room, and actually at that point we will have checked out. So pay however we want. But it does give us that flexibility to do that. And yes, there will be food options for me, which is why I love Disney. The problem with the kiosks at Disney is because they're not attached to a kitchen. They don't have a whole lot of space. So the flexibility of saying, I'm going to adjust to this is limited. It's possible. But the lines get so long, and you don't want to wait in a 20, 30-minute line to say, can you modify this, and find out they can't, which I found out when I was at the food trucks over in Disney Springs on December 30th, which I just finished editing that footage. Well, you'll see it in a couple weeks. So you want to look at those options. So day of, flexibility. You get into the park. You were planning on doing Test Track. That was your first ride. Guaranteed to do that. And oh, look, it's raining. Test Track doesn't ride in the rain. Oh, crap. Now what do you do? Now, if you had made it a fast pass, you will get a specialty fast pass for that time. Or you may go, all right, well, this ride was somewhat later in our schedule. Maybe we can adjust that fast pass time. Or we can try walking on this ride, which we thought about doing, but it's, whatever. Or you just start wandering. And Disney is lovely for surprise entertainments and things that come up out of nowhere. You could go and walk around the aquarium and explore. You could walk around go jump on Living with the Land and see the plants. Or you could get a last minute tour like Living with the Land. I've also been told the rhinoceros tour and the elephant tour, Caring for Giants, tends to be open, and you can last minute, like day of, get one of those tours. And it's like an hour long or something where they get you much closer to the animals and they teach you about them and the conservation. So, there's all those kinds of things that, yes, amok. And there are all these kind of really cool things that you can do last minute that you can modify and just be willing. In the last trip I took, we had tried to get to the parks to do Rise of the Resistance. And I don't know if this one has been released yet. No, I think this one might come out this week. Maybe. But we got caught in the rain, and then we got our Uber. We couldn't get an Uber in the morning because Sunday mornings, Ubers are a pain in the ass. Learned that. But we couldn't get an Uber, and we couldn't get to the park in time. So we got on late. We got group like 125 in the Rise of the Resistance boarding groups, and they were only guaranteeing up to 114. So we were a little SOL and a little depressed about that. So I said, all right, let's just get out of the park, and said, all right, we don't need to stand in here where we're stressed in the place that just made us unhappy in the rain. We got on a bus. We just took the bus over to the Polynesian, got hot chocolate, breakfast, something quick, because none of the other food places were open. Sat outside for a while and kind of vented and watched the rain come crashing down there too. Went back inside and then just napped. And while we were there, Ohana had opened, and Pluto is standing out there because he poses for pictures. So we started chatting at Pluto, and the photographer was like, would you like a photo? I'm like, yeah, I do. So we went over and took pictures, and it became fun because we're right by where Pluto was standing, and when he didn't have anybody to talk to, he'd come out and look at us. He sat there and panted at Glenn. Darcy told him we didn't have any treats, and he walked away sad. You never know what's going to happen. When we finally got to Epcot, we canceled the Turtle Talk because they made the decision they didn't want to do that. But then I said, wait a minute, we can go do this meet and greet. And we did the picture that some of you have recently seen of meeting Joy. And because there were 4 of us, we got to do each of the other emotions, which when we told Joy, and hopefully you will see this on the video, she was ecstatic, even more than normal. But you can tell it was really fun because the woman who's holding the camera for us was like, oh, what a great idea. Look, it's like the 2 of them were like so happy. This is because everyone just goes, oh, okay, we're all here. And that's all they do for their picture. So I will tell you now, when you do character meet and greets, and it doesn't matter your age, I don't care how old you are, the character meet and greets are a hoot. Know a little bit about the character before you walk in and have a conversation with them. As I joked about, my favorite thing to do over at Universal is the Raptor encounter with Blue. It's the best. Oh my God. And as I explained it, it's the same as if, someone at the Renaissance Festival wanted to go meet King Henry. If King Henry was a vicious man-eating dinosaur. Not the same. Yeah, it was pretty fabulous. So day of. The other thing is if you have a ride and it shuts down, like we were talking about Test Track, and it's not open the entire block of when you were supposed to have that fast pass, they will give you a gift fast pass on your phone, on your app, for 1 ride. Now, there may be some limitations. Like they may say, oh, it can't be another tier 1, but you can fast pass any of the other rides just there. So it is look for those opportunities, because when you can get those changes and you can jump into these new and unusual situations, suddenly the world is a happy place. Everyone was so miserable at the beginning of that morning. And when I got them into, we met Pluto and they started having fun. And then we got over to Epcot and we met Joy, and they were starting to play because they started having something to do. And then we got to Baymax, and Darcy had a great idea that then Baymax did not agree with. And he in his own way showed his displeasure. It was pretty funny, actually. Um, but yeah, so I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You just have to be willing to play, because this is a vacation. You are playing. So the surprise pass, fast passes, and like I said, we talked about how to book more fast passes. Now, the last thing that's going to change your schedule, that's going to shift things, that's going to adjust how you do this stuff, getting sick. Those moments when suddenly you have no control how things are going to go. It happens. I will tell you now, I have already packed 3 bottles of hand sanitizer, one of which I will be handing to Drew immediately when I see him. If he has not already organized a face mask, he needs to tell me, so I will pack a second. It makes all the difference, not getting sick and hand sanitizing. All the difference. You can function when you're sick. It's not pleasant. But suddenly you may not want to run fast pace, or you may go, you know what? I'm going to need a nap today. So you take it. You look at your schedule, you look at where you can take things. Now, Universal, great places to take naps all over the place. Great places to take naps. Disney, fewer places to take naps, but there are some. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know what to do with, oh, Moana. Oh, good. I'm glad you saw Moana. It's a lovely movie. No one ever gets sick or tired or even grumpy. Yeah, huh? Yeah. I'm sorry. What is this being said by the man who, with I don't know what fever you had at that time? Was it Victoria and Albert's? Bravo to you for sitting through my 4-hour meal. I felt awful about that, but it happens. Yes, I know. And if we do Victoria and Albert's again, and we have to talk about, like, I have not officially gotten a second person for Christmas yet, so we should talk. We'll figure that out, because I can't do a group this time. I only have space for one, I think. We'll figure it out. Anyway, that being said, so yeah, so surprises happen. Getting sick happens. It sucks. It sucks. Big ass donkey parts. Family friendly. Got to remember that. Family friendly, but not family friendly. We are not a family vlog. This is stuff it's, even though I have like an 11-year-old in the footage coming out now, it's not about being there for kids. Kids are okay to watch, but it's not meant for kids. It's meant for adults to understand how you plan, you plot, and play. And I think that's what this trip is about more than anything, is the flexibility that you'll see. But just getting ready for this upcoming trip has changed multiple times over. It's going to continue to change, because we're still 3 weeks out. We would be coming home, I think, at this point. Oh, and this shirt was bought at the Character Warehouse. I don't know if you saw that. I'm going to adjust the camera angle for a second. Ta-da! So it's all the Disney cats. And this I got at, too high. I got at the Disney Character Warehouse, which is a discount outlet. It's in the outlet mall over in International Drive, and it is incredibly inexpensive. The ears I will try to wear at least one day this trip. From there, normally ears are like $28 to $30. These were $8 because they're like the end of the season, and they will constantly get rid of stuff. I've got some Star Wars clothing I got from there, a t-shirt, as well as something that is like the Resistance clothing, like it's if you live there, etc. I got gifts for people. I got all kinds of cool stuff there, and got, I probably bought what would have been the equivalent when you first got them in the store. Oh, good Lord. I'm going to say it would probably have been about $500 worth of stuff for less than $100. So it's worth it if you have the time to make a trip out there. And even to do it early in the trip, like if you'd have a non-park day, go out to the Character Warehouse, do your shopping there, and get as much of your souvenir type stuff. And then you'll know what else you still need to get to bring home to people. Always fun. Always makes a pleasant difference when you can moderate that. What do we got here? Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a really fun shirt. I don't own most Disney stuff. This is like, I actually normally would sleep in this because it's very thin, but it's very soft. The Star Wars one is for sleeping. And I have a Disney Villains After Hours Party shirt from last year that I got that is for sleeping. But in terms of like going out and about, I have some sweatshirts that are Disney, and some Universal sweatshirts. Yeah, and I have 2 sets of ears just from this last trip, but they're my first sets of ears ever. It's not I don't wear the wild advertisements normally. This is as crazy as I've ever gotten. Um, Friends have decided to get me things that are screamingly Disney, and I don't like plaster Mickey on me. I don't. The most I've ever done is, I think, a Tigger sweatshirt, because I used to love Tigger. And I'm a big fan of Nemo. All the redheaded characters. Um, Children on shuttle buses coughing, sneezing, and strangers running around without parental limitation. Yeah. Yeah, Sasha and I had that problem. We were sitting on a bus and some kid was like coughing and sneezing just out into the air, and the parents were laughing about it, which is just so considerate. I have a long sleeve shirt from Disney because I pack like a dump. Yeah, you didn't. No, Disney in January, Disney in December isn't also not 110 degrees. It's in the 70s, but it gets 50s sometimes in the morning. It can get very chilly. I've had a year where it broke freezing a couple nights when I was there for Christmas week. So yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. So that's the basic kind of thing, I guess, to talk about in terms of surprises and flexibility. Always be willing. Like I said, I plan my trips within an inch of their life, and then I am willing to throw that schedule out the window if something is better or different. If you set a schedule and you will not let it go, let it go. You're missing out on opportunities. The things you can't change easily: dining reservations, and you can cancel a fast pass with no penalties. You may never get back to that ride because it may be one of the important ones, but you're not going to get penalized. You just have to let it, you just release it and then do what you do. Dining reservations, if you do not cancel them at least 24 hours in advance, you will get charged $10 per person on your reservation. If you at least show up and say, I'm sorry, this person got sick, they couldn't make it, I'm here, they won't charge you because you're at least showing up and you're attempting to do it. And there are certain circumstances. I had one year where I was supposed to be going off to Flying Fish for dinner, and we lost the keys to the rental car. And suddenly I had to deal with the emergency of trying to get a rental car back to the airport. I don't even want to go into the scary about all of that. So yes, suffice to say, it can be very difficult. But you call and you explain to them what's going on, and they're generally really good about waiving the fee if they have to. One time I was concerned I might have had to go to a hospital. I was just really sick. And we had dinner reservations, a group of us. And I just very slowly started leaving the park while one of them, who was in much healthier shape, went running off to the restaurant, said, "Hey, we have to cancel." And I went, "Oh, well, we're going to charge you." I went, "Yeah, we think we might be taking her to the hospital." They went, "Never mind." They're realistic. They want to make sure you're not just jumping out to jump out of a reservation, because you're holding space, especially Christmas week, where somebody else could use the spot. Or there used to be where like some people would make reservations at 8 different restaurants and then pick the one they felt like. Well, that means 7 other restaurants didn't have someone sitting in their seats, or someone who wanted to eat there couldn't eat there. So, they are responsible. Yes, and that is true. Yes, and they gave you tea and a hot toddies. They were wonderful. Again, we weren't supposed to talk about that, but yes, they. It is unusual, but every place, when the service is of the utmost importance to them, will go out of their way to make a difference, and will accommodate what they need to for you. Right now, if you were to do Victoria and Albert's at at least a minimum 20% tip, maybe a little bit more, with the wine pairings, when I did it, it was $4.85 tip, tax, and everything. It is now $5.22 tip, tax, and everything for one person, and because it's the 10 course. Someone said they're not offering the 7 course; they're only doing the 10 course now, which is a lot of food. And then they're mini plates of things, but it was a lot of food. It was a lot of bites over a slow period of time. One of the things I love about that place is they will not fire your next course until you're finished the one prior. Well, okay. I'm not upset with that. So Yeah. So before we finish up for tonight, because we're getting near the end, does anyone have any other questions or anything they want to ask about, or a topic they want me to address for a later live chat? I may eventually look at doing uh, pre-recorded videos, like set the video camera up and actually just record me talking about whatever, and then edit that down so it's more of a, rather than the live chat, it's more traditional video. Um, I'm not sure what I'm going to do that. I'm right now still working through all of the footage for this trip, and once I get all of that done, then we'll start talking about what I want to do to fill in the time, the weeks between uh, the March trip and when I go back in June to Universal, and see what is useful there. But if you have got, thank you. I mean, I enjoy the live chats. I think they're a lot of fun. I think there's some fun opportunities to share information. Um, yes, you did. Exactly, exactly. Be respectful and be nice to them, and they will be nice to you. It makes a huge difference. So, any last questions, thoughts? Let me know. If you want to follow, make any comments here that I can address later, you can make the comments below. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Uh, yeah, I think we're good. Anybody last questions? Any thoughts? Any stuff that I can throw in here before I sign off for the evening? I will give it another, like, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. Do, 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 do. No, no, absolutely not, because that makes it funny. Andrew, we need to talk music. At some point, you were talking about creating an opening, but we'll figure that out. Do, 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 do. All right, then I think that is it for tonight. Thank you for everybody who's listening, including the phantom listener. I'm thinking it might be David. I'm not sure. He'll probably tell me later. But I hope you guys have had a great weekend. Happy belated VD. Happy President's Weekend. Mille grazie, bonne nuit. And I don't have a tagline.